Life has a curious way of throwing challenges at us when we least expect them. Sometimes, those challenges feel insurmountable, threatening to derail not just our plans, but our very sense of purpose. Yet, it is in these moments of despair that the seeds of greatness are often sown. In today's story, we'll embark on a journey of resilience, redemption, and the power of forgiveness. This is the tale of Ricky, a talented chef who faced not just professional betrayal, but also the cruel sting of discrimination. Despite his immense talent and unrelenting passion for cooking, Ricky was dismissed without reason, cast aside by someone who underestimated his worth. What followed was a journey through pain, discovery, and eventual triumph, as Ricky turned adversity into an opportunity to redefine not only his life, but also the lives of those around him. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever felt overlooked or misunderstood, take a moment to reflect. Share in the comments a phrase of strength and resilience, perhaps something like, "I embrace challenges as stepping stones to greatness." And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, where we uncover the hidden lessons in extraordinary lives. Now let us dive into the first chapter of Ricky's incredible journey. Ricky's story begins in the bustling heart of a renowned restaurant. It was a place of clinking glasses, aromatic spices, and the hum of conversation blending with the sound of sizzling pans. For Ricky, this kitchen was more than a workplace. It was his stage, a canvas where he painted flavors that told stories. His culinary artistry had earned him loyal patrons and glowing reviews. Yet life, as it often does, had other plans. One ordinary evening, Ricky was summoned to the office of the restaurant's new head chef, Mr. Grover, a man of stern demeanor and rigid expectations. Grover had recently taken over, and his arrival marked a shift in the atmosphere of the kitchen. Ricky entered the office with confidence, unaware of the storm about to erupt. "Ricky," Mr. Grover began, his tone clipped and devoid of warmth, "your services are no longer required here." The words hung in the air, heavy and bewildering. Ricky's mind raced. Had he made a mistake? Failed to meet expectations? But Grover offered no explanation. The decision was abrupt, cruelly dismissive of years of dedication. It wasn't just the loss of his job that stung. It was the absence of respect or acknowledgement for his contributions. As Ricky packed his knives and left the kitchen for the last time, the once familiar smells and sounds felt alien. The staff, many of whom admired him, avoided eye contact, too fearful of their own positions to offer support. This wasn't just a professional blow, it was deeply personal. Ricky had poured his heart into his craft, and now he felt cast aside like a dull blade. In the days that followed, Ricky grappled with a whirlwind of emotions. Anger burned hot, but it was quickly extinguished by waves of sadness and doubt. He replayed the dismissal in his mind, searching for answers. Each rejection letter from potential employers deepened the wound. The culinary world, once a source of joy, now felt cold, unwelcoming. But the situation was more complex than it appeared. Subtle discrimination had played a role in Grover's decision. Ricky, a chef with a flair for creativity and innovation, had often clashed with Grover's more traditional approach. Worse, Ricky's background and unconventional methods made him an easy target in an industry that at times resisted change. Amid these challenges, Ricky found himself at a crossroads. He could allow the injustice to define him, or he could rise above it. Yet, the question lingered: how does one rebuild a life shattered by prejudice and loss? The answer didn't come immediately. Instead, it emerged slowly, through quiet moments of reflection and the unwavering support of a close-knit circle of friends and family. They reminded Ricky of his worth, his unique talent, and the joy he brought to those who tasted his creations. One evening, as Ricky sat in his modest kitchen, surrounded by cookbooks and the tools of his trade, a thought took hold. What if this wasn't the end, but a beginning? What if he could use this painful experience as a catalyst for something greater? The first step was to confront the pain head-on. Ricky began journaling, pouring his frustrations and dreams onto paper. Through this process, a vision started to take shape, a restaurant that reflected his values, his creativity, and his unwavering commitment to excellence. But dreams alone wouldn't suffice. Ricky knew he needed to act. He immersed himself in learning, not just about cooking, but also about the business side of the culinary world. He studied marketing, management, and the art of building a brand. Slowly, the pieces of his dream began to fall into place. Yet, challenges remained. Ricky faced financial struggles and moments of self-doubt. The sting of rejection still lingered, and the scars of discrimination threatened to hold him back. But with each obstacle, he found new strength. One particularly dark evening, Ricky received a letter from a mentor, a retired chef who had once inspired him. The letter contained a simple yet profound message. True talent cannot be silenced. Let your light shine, even in the darkest of times. Those words became Ricky's mantra. He began experimenting with recipes, blending flavors that told stories of resilience and hope. He reached out to old colleagues and built a network of supporters who believed in his vision. Slowly but surely, the foundation of his new journey took shape. As Ricky stood in his kitchen, testing a new recipe, he realized that the fire of his passion had not been extinguished. If anything, it burned brighter than ever. The dismissal, painful as it was, had forced him to confront his fears and discover his true strength. And so, Ricky resolved to move forward, not with bitterness, but with a renewed sense of purpose. He understood now that success wasn't just about proving others wrong. It was about staying true to oneself and using one's gifts to make the world a better place. Ricky's journey was far from over. Just as he began to rebuild his life, a spark of hope emerged, a vision that would transform his pain into purpose. In the next chapter, we'll explore how Ricky turned his unwavering dream into reality, using his love for cooking as a beacon of hope and resilience. Stay tuned, and remember, greatness often begins where comfort ends. Ricky's kitchen, though modest, became his sanctuary. Each pot, each knife, and every carefully measured spice symbolized a step toward his dream. But unlike before, this dream wasn't merely about cooking. It was about creating a space where his values and creativity could flourish without constraint. For Ricky, cooking had never been just a job. It was a language, a way of connecting with people, evoking emotions, and telling stories. In the wake of his dismissal, that connection felt severed. Yet, deep within, a flame of determination flickered. That flame grew stronger as Ricky began to envision something extraordinary, a restaurant that wouldn't simply serve food, but experiences, comfort, and hope. Ricky's vision wasn't born from thin air. It was the culmination of years of experience, moments of inspiration, and the unwavering belief that food could heal and unite. He wanted to create a restaurant where diversity wasn't just tolerated, but celebrated, where every dish told a story and every guest felt like family. But turning a dream into reality required more than passion. Ricky faced monumental challenges: financial constraints, the lingering sting of rejection, and a market saturated with competition. Yet, he was no stranger to hard work. If anything, these obstacles strengthened his resolve. To fund his vision, Ricky took on part-time catering gigs. These weren't glamorous jobs. They often involved long hours and physically demanding work. But they allowed Ricky to experiment with new recipes, hone his skills, and save for his future. He saw every event as an opportunity to learn about people's preferences, about service, and most importantly, about himself. Behind the scenes, Ricky was relentless. He pored over business books, studied restaurant management, and sought advice from mentors and peers. Late nights were spent sketching floor plans, brainstorming menus, and calculating budgets. Despite the exhaustion, Ricky found joy in these moments. Every detail, no matter how small, brought him closer to his goal. One pivotal moment came when Ricky attended a small business workshop. Surrounded by aspiring entrepreneurs, he felt a surge of inspiration. During a networking session, he met Clara, a successful restaurateur known for her innovative dining concepts. Clara saw something in Ricky: a spark, a passion that couldn't be ignored. "You've got what it takes," she told him after hearing his story. But remember, a restaurant isn't just about food. It's about people. Create a space where people feel seen, valued, and connected. That's where the magic happens. Clara's words resonated deeply. Ricky began to think beyond the menu. He envisioned a restaurant that celebrated community, a place where everyone, regardless of background, could come together over a shared love of good food. He imagined walls adorned with local artwork, a menu inspired by global flavors, and a kitchen staff that reflected the diversity he cherished. But dreams are often tested, and Ricky's was no exception. One evening, while preparing for a catering event, a fire broke out in his kitchen. Though the damage was minimal, it was a harsh reminder of how fragile his progress could be. For a brief moment, Ricky considered giving up. Was it worth the struggle? Yet, as he stood amidst the smoky remnants of his workspace, a thought emerged. Adversity wasn't a sign to quit. It was a test of his commitment. Ricky resolved to press on, not just for himself, but for the people who believed in him and for those who would one day find solace in his restaurant. Ricky's determination soon began to bear fruit. A chance encounter at a farmer's market led to a partnership with a local supplier who agreed to provide fresh, sustainable ingredients at a discounted rate. Another breakthrough came when Ricky secured a small loan from a community bank, thanks in part to a heartfelt pitch that outlined his vision and his plan to give back to the community. As the pieces fell into place, Ricky's dream began to take shape. He rented a small space in an up-and-coming neighborhood and started renovations. Friends and family pitched in, painting walls, assembling furniture, and transforming the once empty space into a warm, inviting haven. The menu was a labor of love, featuring dishes that blended Ricky's culinary expertise with his personal story. There was the Resilience Risotto, a tribute to his journey, and the Unity Platter, inspired by the diverse influences that shaped his cooking. Each dish was crafted with care, using ingredients sourced from local farmers and suppliers who shared Ricky's values. But Ricky knew that a restaurant was more than its food or decor. It was about the people, the staff, the guests, and the community it served. He hired a team that reflected his vision, passionate, talented individuals who believed in the power of food to bring people together. He emphasized collaboration, respect, and a culture of learning, ensuring that everyone felt valued. Opening day was both nerve-wracking and exhilarating. As the first guests walked through the doors, Ricky felt a wave of emotion. This wasn't just the launch of a restaurant. It was the culmination of years of perseverance, a testament to the power of dreaming big and working tirelessly to make those dreams a reality. The response was overwhelming. Guests raved about the food, the ambience, and the sense of belonging that permeated the space. Ricky's restaurant quickly became a local favorite, drawing patrons from all walks of life. Yet, Ricky knew this was just the beginning. His dream wasn't just to build a successful restaurant, but to create a legacy, a space where love, compassion, and creativity thrived. As he stood in the kitchen, watching his team work together seamlessly, Ricky felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Ricky's journey of building his dream restaurant was a triumph, but life had more lessons in store. In the next chapter, we'll explore how Ricky faced prejudice head-on and found strength in unexpected places, proving that determination and community can overcome even the deepest wounds. Stay with us as we delve deeper into Ricky's inspiring story. Despite the joy of opening his restaurant, Ricky's journey was far from smooth. Success had brought attention, and while much of it was positive, not everyone celebrated his achievements. Prejudices, both subtle and overt, began to surface, threatening the very foundation of what Ricky had built. It started with whispers, comments made in hushed tones that reached Ricky's ears through the grapevine. Some questioned his credentials, attributing his success to luck rather than skill. Others dismissed his innovative menu, calling it too eclectic or untraditional. These remarks, while veiled, were deeply rooted in bias, aimed at undermining Ricky's credibility as a chef and a leader. One particularly stinging incident occurred when Ricky sought to expand his restaurant's reach by collaborating with a prominent food critic. The critic, known for championing traditional cuisine, declined the offer, citing a lack of authenticity in Ricky's cooking. It wasn't just a rejection. It was a blow to Ricky's identity, as his menu was a heartfelt reflection of his journey and heritage. For Ricky, These moments were painful reminders of the discrimination he had faced earlier in his career. Mr. Grover's dismissal had been the first overt act, but now, the prejudice was more insidious, harder to confront directly. It was a battle not just for professional recognition, but also for personal dignity. However, Ricky was no longer the man he had been during his darkest days. The lessons he had learned, the importance of resilience, the power of community, and the value of staying true to oneself became his guiding light. Instead of letting the negativity consume him, Ricky chose to rise above it. He began by leaning on the support network he had cultivated over the years. Friends, mentors, and loyal customers rallied around him, offering encouragement and practical help. Clara, the restaurateur who had inspired him during his early planning days, became a sounding board, helping Ricky navigate the challenges with grace and strategic thinking. Success always attracts criticism, Clara reminded him one evening over coffee. But remember, criticism often says more about the critic than about you. Stay focused on your purpose and let your work speak for itself. Ricky took those words to heart. Instead of retaliating against his detractors, he doubled down on his mission to create a space of inclusivity and excellence. He began hosting community events at his restaurant, inviting people from all walks of life to come together and celebrate the power of food to unite. One event, in particular, stood out: a charity dinner aimed at supporting underprivileged youth interested in culinary arts. Ricky worked tirelessly to organize the event, partnering with local schools and nonprofits to identify young talents who lacked the resources to pursue their dreams. The dinner was a resounding success. The restaurant was filled with laughter, music, and the aroma of dishes prepared by Ricky and his team, alongside the young aspiring chefs. Guests left not just with full stomachs, but with full hearts, inspired by the evening's message of hope and opportunity. But the road ahead wasn't entirely smooth. Ricky still faced challenges, particularly from those who clung to outdated notions of what a chef or a restaurant should be. Some competitors attempted to tarnish his reputation, spreading false rumors about his business practices. Others tried to exclude him from industry events, viewing his success as a threat rather than a source of inspiration. Through it all, Ricky remained steadfast. He understood that prejudice, while painful, was a reflection of fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of someone challenging the status quo. Instead of letting that fear dictate his actions, Ricky chose to confront it with compassion and determination. One pivotal moment came when Ricky decided to confront one of his harshest critics, a local chef who had publicly belittled his work. Instead of engaging in a war of words, Ricky invited the chef to his restaurant for a meal. The meeting was tense at first, but as the courses were served, something shifted. Ricky's dishes spoke volumes, conveying not just his skill, but also his heart. By the end of the meal, the critic admitted that he had been wrong to judge Ricky so harshly. "You've opened my eyes," the chef said. "Your food isn't just creative, it's soulful. I see now that what you're doing is important, not just for this city, but for the industry as a whole." This moment of reconciliation was a turning point for Ricky. It reinforced his belief that change was possible, even in the face of deep-seated prejudice. He began to view his critics not as enemies, but as opportunities to build bridges and foster understanding. As word of Ricky's efforts spread, his reputation began to shift. Industry leaders who had once doubted him now sought his advice, eager to learn from his innovative approach to cuisine and community building. His restaurant became a symbol of what was possible when talent, perseverance, and inclusivity converged. For Ricky, these victories were deeply personal. They weren't just about proving his worth to others. They were about staying true to his values and demonstrating that compassion and determination could overcome even the most entrenched biases. Ricky's journey of overcoming prejudice was a testament to his character, but his story was far from over. An unexpected opportunity would soon arise, challenging him to step outside his comfort zone and showcase his talents on a larger stage. In the next chapter, we'll see how a charity cook-off became the turning point that would redefine Ricky's career and solidify his place in the culinary world. Stay tuned and remember, True strength lies in how we rise after falling. The invitation arrived on a crisp autumn morning, tucked neatly in an envelope bearing the logo of a prestigious culinary organization. Ricky was hesitant to open it. Opportunities like this were rare, especially for someone like him who had faced so many obstacles. When he finally unfolded the letter, his eyes widened. He had been invited to participate in a high-profile charity cook-off, a prestigious event that drew culinary giants from across the country. The theme of the cook-off was reimagining tradition, a perfect fit for Ricky's innovative approach to cuisine. Yet, despite the alignment, he hesitated. Memories of past rejections lingered and doubts crept in. Would he be welcomed? Would his unique style be appreciated? Or would it draw criticism from traditionalists? After hours of contemplation and encouragement from Clara and his team, Ricky made his decision. He would participate, not just for himself, but to prove that culinary artistry knows no boundaries. The weeks leading up to the event were a whirlwind of preparation. Ricky spent long hours in the kitchen, refining his recipes and perfecting his techniques. His dish for the competition needed to be more than just delicious. It had to tell a story. He decided on a dish that represented his journey, a fusion of flavors from his heritage, infused with modern techniques and unexpected pairings. The day of the cook-off arrived, and the venue was abuzz with excitement. Renowned chefs mingled with food critics, and cameras captured every moment for an eager audience. Ricky felt a mix of nerves and determination as he stepped into the competition kitchen, surrounded by gleaming appliances and the hum of anticipation. As the competition began, Ricky fell into a familiar rhythm. The sound of chopping, the sizzle of pans, and the fragrant steam rising from pots grounded him. His dish was a symphony of flavors. Tender braised lamb paired with a vibrant turmeric-infused couscous, topped with a zesty pomegranate glaze. Every element was carefully balanced, reflecting his journey of resilience and creativity. But the cook-off wasn't without its challenges. Midway through, Ricky discovered that a key ingredient for his glazed fresh pomegranates was missing. Panic threatened to take hold, but he quickly improvised, creating a substitute using a blend of cranberries and citrus. The result was unexpectedly brilliant, adding a unique tanginess that elevated the dish even further. As the clock ticked down, Ricky plated his creation with precision, adding the final touches with a steady hand. When the buzzer sounded, he stepped back and took a deep breath. His work was done. The judges approached, their expressions serious as they sampled each dish. When they reached Ricky's station, he offered a brief explanation of his creation, emphasizing the story behind it. "This dish," he said, "represents my journey. It's a blend of tradition and innovation, a celebration of resilience and the beauty of embracing one's roots while forging a new path." The room was silent as the judges tasted his dish. Then, one by one, their expressions softened. A few even smiled. Ricky couldn't decipher their thoughts, but he felt a flicker of hope. When the results were announced, Ricky stood among the other chefs, his heart pounding. The host began with the runner-up, and then, with a dramatic pause, revealed the winner, Ricky. The applause was thunderous, but Ricky could barely process it. As he stepped forward to accept the award, he felt a wave of emotion. This wasn't just a personal victory, it was validation of his talent, his vision, and his unwavering belief in himself. The win brought more than just a trophy. It marked a turning point in Ricky's career, opening doors that had previously been closed. Media outlets praised his ingenuity, and culinary leaders who had once doubted him now sought his collaboration. But for Ricky, the true reward was the impact his story had on others. Messages poured in from aspiring chefs, thanking him for showing that resilience and authenticity could overcome even the toughest barriers. Ricky's victory wasn't just about the food. It was about the message behind it, a message of hope, determination, and the power of staying true to oneself. Ricky's triumph at the cook-off was a defining moment, but his journey of transformation was far from complete. What came next was an act of profound forgiveness and strategy, as Ricky made an unexpected decision to help an old adversary. Join us next time to uncover how Ricky turned conflict into collaboration, proving that success is sweeter when shared. Stay tuned. Not long after Ricky's triumph at the charity cook-off, he found himself facing an unexpected opportunity for growth. Not in his career, but in his heart. It came in the form of a phone call. The voice on the other end was strained, hesitant, and unmistakably familiar. "Ricky," the caller said after a long pause, "this is Mr. Grover." The name alone was enough to flood Ricky's mind with memories, his abrupt dismissal, the sting of disrespect, the long nights spent questioning his worth. Yet here was Mr. Grover, reaching out. Grover explained the reason for his call. His restaurant, once a pillar of fine dining, was struggling. Poor reviews, declining patronage, and internal conflicts had left it on the brink of closure. "I've heard about your success," Grover admitted, "and I was hoping you might be willing to help." Ricky's first instinct was disbelief, followed by anger. The man who had once dismissed his talents, who had made him feel so small, was now asking for his help. It felt like a cruel twist of fate. Yet, as Grover continued to speak, Ricky detected something unexpected in his tone: genuine humility. Grover wasn't just asking for professional advice. He was reaching out as a man who had realized his mistakes. He acknowledged his poor treatment of Ricky, apologizing for his actions, and admitting that he had been blinded by his own biases. "I was wrong," Grover said simply. "You deserved better." Ricky's mind raced. He could have turned Grover away, justified in his refusal. Yet, a part of him saw this as an opportunity, not just to extend a hand of forgiveness, but to prove the transformative power of compassion and collaboration. After a moment of silence, Ricky responded, "I'll help, but only if we're in this together. This isn't just about saving a restaurant. It's about creating something meaningful." With that, Ricky and Grover embarked on an unlikely partnership. Ricky approached the task with the same dedication he had shown in building his own restaurant, starting with a thorough assessment of Grover's establishment. What he found was disheartening: a fractured team, a dated menu, and a reputation tarnished by years of mismanagement. But Ricky wasn't deterred. He saw potential in the staff, many of whom were talented but lacked direction. He worked closely with them, emphasizing collaboration and encouraging their input. Slowly, the kitchen began to transform into a space of creativity and mutual respect. The menu was another challenge. Grover's traditionalist approach had alienated a modern audience, and the offerings needed a complete overhaul. Together, Ricky and Grover designed a new menu that blended Grover's classic techniques with Ricky's innovative flair. The result was a harmonious fusion that honored the past while embracing the future. As the restaurant prepared for its relaunch, Ricky faced another test of his character. The media had caught wind of the partnership, and questions arose about his decision to help the man who had once dismissed him. Some critics accused Ricky of being naive, while others applauded his courage and grace. Ricky responded with quiet confidence. "Forgiveness isn't about forgetting," he said in an interview. "It's about recognizing that we all have the capacity to grow and change. By working together, we're proving that success is greater when shared." The relaunch was a turning point. On opening night, the restaurant was packed with curious diners, eager to experience the new concept. Ricky and Grover worked side by side in the kitchen, their collaboration a testament to the power of redemption. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Guests raved about the food, the atmosphere, and the story behind the transformation. The restaurant quickly regained its status as a culinary hotspot, drawing attention not just for its menu, but for the message it embodied. For Grover, the experience was humbling. He admitted to Ricky that their partnership had taught him more than years of running the restaurant alone ever had. "You didn't just save my business," he said. "You showed me the kind of leader I want to be." Ricky, too, found the experience transformative. Helping Grover wasn't just an act of forgiveness. It was a reminder of his own strength and the importance of staying true to his values. By choosing compassion over resentment, he had turned a painful chapter of his life into a story of hope and renewal. Ricky and Grover's partnership was a remarkable example of how forgiveness and collaboration can lead to extraordinary outcomes. But Ricky's journey was far from over. In the next chapter, We'll explore how this transformative experience paved the way for new beginnings and major achievements, solidifying Ricky's legacy as a visionary leader and a beacon of resilience. Stay tuned. The success of Ricky and Grover's collaboration breathed new life into both their careers. Yet for Ricky, it was more than just a professional milestone. It was a springboard to even greater aspirations. The restaurant they revitalized together became a symbol of innovation and second chances, drawing praise from industry insiders and inspiring others to pursue transformative partnerships. Ricky's newfound visibility brought with it a host of opportunities. Invitations to culinary festivals, guest chef appearances, and keynote speaking engagements poured in. Ricky approached each opportunity with humility, using his platform to share not just his culinary expertise, but also the lessons he had learned about resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of staying true to one's values. One of the most pivotal moments came when Ricky was approached by a prominent investor who had been moved by his story. The investor, a philanthropist passionate about supporting underrepresented talent in the culinary world, proposed a bold idea: a culinary institute founded by Ricky, dedicated to nurturing the next generation of chefs. The idea resonated deeply with Ricky. He had always believed in the power of mentorship, having benefited from the guidance of mentors like Clara and others along his journey. The institute would be more than a school. It would be a haven for aspiring chefs from diverse backgrounds, a place where creativity, innovation, and community were celebrated. Ricky threw himself into the project with the same passion that had driven him to rebuild his career. He collaborated with educators, chefs, and industry leaders to design a curriculum that emphasized both technical skill and personal growth. Courses ranged from classic culinary techniques to modern fusion, alongside lessons on leadership, business management, and ethical practices. The institute, aptly named the Harmony Kitchen, opened its doors to overwhelming support. Aspiring chefs from all over flocked to learn from Ricky and his carefully selected team of instructors. The classrooms buzzed with energy as students experimented with flavors, crafted innovative dishes, and shared their stories of resilience and hope. Ricky's vision for the institute extended beyond its walls. He established partnerships with local farms and suppliers, ensuring that students had access to fresh, sustainable ingredients while supporting the broader community. The institute also offered scholarships to talented individuals who lacked financial resources, furthering Ricky's commitment to creating opportunities for all. But Ricky didn't stop there. Inspired by the success of the institute, he launched a series of pop-up restaurants in underserved communities, bringing gourmet dining experiences to places that had been overlooked by the culinary world. These pop-ups became a platform for his students to showcase their skills, blending professional development with community engagement. As his influence grew, Ricky remained grounded. He continued to spend time in the kitchen, working alongside his team and mentoring students. For Ricky, success wasn't about accolades or wealth. It was about making a difference one plate, one person, one story at a time. Ricky's personal life also flourished during this time. The connections he had built through his work deepened, and he found love in a fellow chef who shared his passion for food and community. Together, they became a powerhouse of creativity and compassion, supporting each other's dreams while building a life rooted in shared values. Through it all, Ricky remained a beacon of hope for those facing adversity. His story was featured in magazines, documentaries, and podcasts, inspiring countless individuals to pursue their dreams despite the obstacles. Yet, Ricky never sought the spotlight. For him, the greatest reward was seeing his students succeed, his community thrive, and his message resonate with people around the world. The restaurant he and Grover had revitalized continued to flourish, becoming a landmark for food lovers and a testament to the power of collaboration. Grover, transformed by the experience, often credited Ricky with not only saving his business, but also changing his outlook on life and leadership. As the years passed, Ricky's legacy grew. His name became synonymous with innovation, compassion, and resilience in the culinary world. But for Ricky, the journey wasn't about building a legacy. It was about living a life of purpose and using his talents to create a better world. Ricky's achievements were remarkable, but his story wasn't just about personal success. In the next chapter, we'll explore the lasting impact of his work, the lives he touched, and the lessons he passed on to future generations. Ricky's journey teaches us that true greatness lies not in what we achieve for ourselves, but in what we inspire in others. Stay tuned. As Ricky's career flourished, so did his influence. What began as a personal journey of redemption evolved into a movement of inspiration, leaving ripples far beyond the culinary world. Ricky's life became a testament to the power of resilience, compassion, and the enduring impact of one person's unwavering commitment to their values. The students at the Harmony Kitchen were the first to feel the depth of Ricky's legacy. For many, the Institute was more than just a school. It was a lifeline. Students often arrived with dreams but little confidence, their talents hidden beneath layers of self-doubt. Ricky's mentorship changed that. He made it a point to know each student personally, listening to their stories and understanding their struggles. "Your story is your power," he would tell them. "Every challenge you faced adds flavor to your journey. Use it to create something the world has never tasted before." Under Ricky's guidance, students blossomed. They left the Institute not just as skilled chefs, but as empowered individuals ready to make their mark. Many went on to open their own restaurants, start food-focused nonprofits, or become advocates for sustainability and inclusion in the industry. Each success story was a tribute to Ricky's vision and the environment he had cultivated. Beyond the Institute, Ricky's influence spread to the broader community. The pop-up restaurants he had launched in underserved areas became fixtures of hope and celebration. Families who had never experienced fine dining now gathered around beautifully plated meals, savoring not just the food, but also the sense of belonging Ricky's team fostered. One memorable evening at a pop-up event, an elderly woman approached Ricky with tears in her eyes. "This is more than food," she said. "You've brought joy and dignity to our community. Thank you for seeing us." Moments like these fueled Ricky's drive to continue his work. He believed that food was a universal language, capable of bridging divides and healing wounds. Whether it was a gourmet dish in a high-end restaurant or a simple meal served at a community table, Ricky poured his heart into every bite, knowing it had the power to change lives. Ricky's impact wasn't limited to his direct endeavors. His story inspired countless others to pursue their dreams and overcome adversity. Letters and messages poured in from people around the world, sharing how Ricky's journey had given them hope. One such letter came from a young man in a distant country who had been ostracized for his love of cooking. "Your story gave me the courage to follow my passion," he wrote. "Because of you, I've opened a small cafe in my village. It's not much, but it's mine, and it's making a difference." Ricky treasured these messages, seeing them as proof that his story had transcended borders and cultures. He often shared them with his students, using them as reminders that the work they were doing extended far beyond the kitchen. As Ricky's influence grew, so did his opportunities to advocate for meaningful change. He became a vocal proponent of diversity and inclusion in the culinary world, challenging outdated norms and pushing for greater representation. He worked tirelessly to create platforms for underrepresented voices, ensuring that the next generation of chefs would inherit a more inclusive and equitable industry. But perhaps Ricky's most profound impact was felt in his personal interactions. He had a way of making everyone he met feel seen and valued, whether it was a nervous student, a skeptical critic, or a loyal customer. His kindness and humility were contagious, inspiring others to approach their own lives with the same sense of purpose and generosity. In his later years, Ricky began to step back from the daily operations of his ventures, entrusting them to the capable hands of his students and colleagues. Yet, his presence remained a guiding force. He continued to mentor, to speak, and to share his story, always emphasizing the importance of staying true to one's values. Ricky's story became a beacon for those navigating their own challenges. His message was simple yet profound. Success isn't about the accolades or the wealth. It's about the lives you touch, the barriers you break, and the legacy you leave behind. Ricky's legacy extended far beyond the culinary world. touching lives and inspiring change in ways he could never have imagined. In the next chapter, we'll delve into the life lessons Ricky shared and the timeless truths he left behind for future generations. His journey is a powerful reminder that perseverance, compassion, and courage can transform even the deepest struggles into extraordinary triumphs. Stay tuned. Ricky often reflected on the journey that had brought him to where he was, a journey marked by moments of profound difficulty, but also by resilience, forgiveness, and the ability to transform challenges into stepping stones. These values didn't just shape Ricky's career. They became the foundation of his life philosophy, guiding every decision he made and every relationship he nurtured. At the heart of Ricky's story was resilience, the unyielding ability to rise after every fall. It was resilience that had carried him through the sting of his dismissal by Mr. Grover, through the uncertainty of starting anew, and through the relentless scrutiny of an industry that wasn't always welcoming to his ideas. But resilience wasn't something Ricky claimed as an innate trait. He believed it was a skill, one that could be cultivated through deliberate practice and a strong sense of purpose. Ricky often spoke about the importance of finding an anchor, a reason to keep going when everything seems to be falling apart. For him, that anchor had always been his love of cooking. It wasn't just about food, he would say. It was about connection, about telling stories and bringing people together. That's what kept me going when the road got rough. Yet, resilience alone wasn't enough to shape the extraordinary life Ricky built. Forgiveness played an equally vital role. The decision to help Mr. Grover, the man who had once caused him so much pain, was perhaps the clearest example of this. For Ricky, forgiveness wasn't about excusing bad behavior or pretending the hurt didn't exist. It was about freeing himself from the burden of bitterness and opening the door to growth for both himself and others. Forgiveness also allowed Ricky to see opportunities where others might see only obstacles. By choosing to work with Grover, Ricky not only rebuilt a failing restaurant, but also created a partnership that symbolized the power of second chances. Forgiveness, Ricky often said, isn't just an act of kindness, it's a strategy for growth. It allows you to move forward without the weight of the past holding you back. Ricky's ability to transform challenges into opportunities was evident in every chapter of his life. When faced with rejection, he turned inward, using the pain as fuel to refine his craft and strengthen his resolve. When confronted with prejudice, he chose to lead by example, showing the world that talent and integrity could overcome even the most entrenched biases. Ricky's philosophy extended to his work with students and colleagues. He encouraged them to see mistakes not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and grow. The best dishes, he would tell them, often come from the recipes you think you've ruined. It's what you do with the unexpected that makes all the difference. This mindset had a transformative effect on those around him. Students who once feared failure began to embrace it as a natural part of the creative process. Colleagues who had doubted their own abilities found renewed confidence under Ricky's mentorship. His belief in the potential for growth, in himself, in others, and in every situation was contagious. But Ricky's journey wasn't without moments of doubt. He often faced criticism for his unconventional methods and his willingness to extend compassion to those who had wronged him. There were times when the weight of his responsibilities felt overwhelming, when the challenges seemed insurmountable. In those moments, Ricky turned to the lessons he had learned along the way. The importance of leaning on others for support, of staying true to his values, and of finding strength in his purpose. One particularly trying period came when Ricky's institute faced financial difficulties. Enrollment had dipped, and the costs of maintaining the program began to outpace its revenue. For a time, it seemed that the Harmony Kitchen might have to close its doors, but Ricky refused to give up. He reached out to his network, rallying support from alumni, community leaders, and even competitors who admired his work. Together, they organized a series of fundraising events, including a gala dinner that brought together some of the biggest names in the culinary world. The effort not only saved the institute, but also strengthened the bonds between its supporters, proving that resilience and collaboration could overcome even the toughest challenges. Ricky's ability to navigate these difficulties with grace and determination inspired those around him. He became a symbol of what was possible when resilience and forgiveness were paired with unwavering purpose. His story reminded people that life's greatest triumphs often emerge from its hardest struggles. Ricky's journey of resilience and forgiveness was a powerful reminder of the strength we all carry within us. But his story didn't end with his personal success. In the final chapter, we'll explore the timeless life lessons Ricky shared with others, lessons that continue to inspire generations to dream big, persevere, and embrace the unexpected. Stay tuned. As Ricky entered the later years of his life, his focus shifted from building his career to imparting the wisdom he had gathered along his remarkable journey. His story wasn't just a tale of personal triumph, it was a treasure trove of life lessons that resonated with people from all walks of life. Ricky often said, "Success is fleeting, but the impact you leave on others is eternal." It was this belief that drove him to dedicate his time to teaching, mentoring, and sharing his insights with anyone willing to listen. His lessons weren't just about cooking. They were about life itself, touching on themes of perseverance, compassion, and the courage to stay true to one's values. One of Ricky's most powerful lessons was the importance of embracing adversity. He frequently reminded his students and audiences that challenges were not roadblocks, but stepping stones. Every setback, he would say, is an opportunity in disguise. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about using it as a tool to grow stronger and wiser. Ricky's own life was a testament to this philosophy. From his abrupt dismissal to the prejudices he faced, he had endured countless obstacles. Yet, instead of succumbing to bitterness or defeat, he had turned each challenge into a chance to learn and evolve. His ability to rise from adversity became a beacon of hope for those facing their own struggles. Another cornerstone of Ricky's teachings was the value of forgiveness. He often spoke about his decision to help Mr. Grover, framing it as one of the most pivotal moments of his life. Forgiveness isn't about the other person, he explained. It's about freeing yourself. When you let go of anger and resentment, you make space for growth, for joy, and for unexpected opportunities. Ricky's emphasis on compassion extended beyond personal relationships. He believed in the power of community and the importance of lifting others as you climb. Through the Harmony Kitchen and his other ventures, Ricky created platforms for people to succeed together. True success, he often said, isn't about what you achieve alone. It's about what you achieve as a part of something greater. One of Ricky's most beloved practices was his habit of sharing personal stories to illustrate his points. He would recount the time he improvised a glaze during the charity cook-off, using it as an example of creativity under pressure. Or he would talk about the students at his institute who overcame incredible odds to become successful chefs, demonstrating the power of belief and perseverance. These stories weren't just entertaining, they were deeply relatable, offering practical insights that listeners could apply to their own lives. Ricky had a way of making even the most complex lessons feel simple and accessible, a skill that endeared him to audiences around the world. In his later years, Ricky became a sought-after speaker, traveling to schools, community centers, and conferences to share his message. Yet, despite his growing influence, he remained humble and grounded. He often reminded his audiences that he was still learning, still growing, and still finding new ways to contribute. Ricky's legacy was also shaped by the people he mentored. Many of his former students went on to achieve remarkable success, carrying forward the lessons they had learned under his guidance. They spoke of Ricky not just as a teacher, but as a source of inspiration, a man whose kindness and wisdom had changed their lives. One of his students, a young chef who had opened a thriving restaurant in a rural community, described Ricky as a light in the darkest times. Another, who had launched a nonprofit to combat food insecurity, credited Ricky with teaching her the importance of using her talents to make a difference. Ricky's influence extended far beyond the culinary world. His teachings about resilience, forgiveness, and community resonated with people in fields ranging from education to business to the arts. His story became a reminder that the principles of perseverance and compassion were universal, applicable to any challenge or goal. As Ricky's life drew to a close, he found comfort in the knowledge that his legacy would endure, not just in the restaurants he had built or the students he had mentored, but in the lives he had touched and the lessons he had shared. In his final public appearance, Ricky delivered a speech that encapsulated the heart of his journey. Standing before a packed auditorium, he addressed the audience with the warmth and humility that had become his trademark. "Life is a journey, not a destination," he began. "It's filled with twists and turns, triumphs and trials. But through it all, there's one thing that remains constant: the impact we have on others. That's what defines us, not the titles we earn, the wealth we amass, or the accolades we receive, but the love we share and the difference we make." Ricky's words left a profound impression on those who heard them. They echoed long after the event ended, inspiring countless individuals to approach their own lives with greater purpose and intention. Ricky's story is a timeless reminder of the power of resilience, forgiveness, and compassion. His journey teaches us that even in the face of adversity, we have the ability to rise, to heal, and to create something beautiful. If this story has touched your heart, consider sharing a piece of Ricky's wisdom in the comments below. For example, I turn challenges into opportunities and inspire others with my actions. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this, stories that inspire, uplift, and remind us of the extraordinary potential within us all. Together, let's celebrate the power of human connection and the lessons we can learn from one another. Thank you for watching, and remember, your story, like Ricky's, has the power to change the world.